Alright, we're on the draw against a Reflect Beast kind of deck. Ooh, I actually like this hand. I don't like the Lucifer and opening hand, but I like the rest of this. It looks pretty good to me. Because it's versatile against no matter what we're playing. We can set an Executioner, we can Scorn him, uh, followed by Prison and Sign. Uh, this hand is versatile against no matter what deck we're playing against. This is almost like one of the best opening hands, simply because if we're playing against like a Swarm deck, then the Executioner may not be good enough by himself. Um, is he'd only kill one dude when they're dropping like 3 dudes in one turn, and so having a sign here is good in that situation. So here we're gonna draw. We called the most awkward card in our hand. We're gonna actually start. I could play around Wall of Wind here by setting this. I think that's the best way to do it. Because once I score in his hand, then I know what to look out for, whether there actually is a Wall of Wind. Whereas if I just scorn, then I feel like I wasted the scorn, and then I set the Executioner turn later anyway. Um, so it's almost like it doesn't matter when I set the Executioner because I can't trigger off the Black Moon's Memoria because it's not a special, or it's not a Darkness Magic Stone. It's a special Magic Stone that produces Moon or Darkness. And so really, it's just kind of like, okay, well, if I can't trigger Executioner this turn, I mean I could trigger it next turn, but if I'm going to trigger it on his turn 2, not his turn 2, his turn 3 basically anyway, then isn't it better to play around Wall of Wind and make sure my Scorn gets through? That's my logic there. Um, so here, as you can see, now Scorn him, see what's in that hand, Huanglong. Um, um, the Huanglong, we probably want to get rid of. Okay, so when I see this, I immediately think of a Huanglong for Sacred Beast deck. He wants to just make the game last long by playing sort of control with Wall of Wind and stick a Huanglong and protect it with the Wall of or the Whimsically Refuge. So we're gonna hit one of the Huangs because this is actually his win con, right? Um, and part of being able to play this deck effectively is judging what it is you're playing against, or understanding like, okay, this is the type of deck I'm playing against. This is the correct target. So Scorn is, like Thoughtseize in general, Scorn is one of the harder cards to use. You have to really evaluate like, what am I doing here? What is what is he trying to do? What is his game plan? And how are we going to combat that? What's important here? Because I could have taken the Cheshire Cat, uh, so that way he doesn't kind of just cantrip off of it and gain value. But taking the Huanglong, I think, actually hits his win con. So I think it's important to do that. So here we're going to kill the Elvish Priest. Uh, yeah. So it looks like he's going to pop that instead. Um, I like going ahead and popping it anyway, simply because I don't want it there. We're gonna cantrip off of getting rid of the priest. Um, yeah. So we know he has a Wall of Wind still in his hand. He doesn't have any blue, so he can't cast the Cheshire Cat. And it's getting close to the point where we could just hard cast the Lucifer if we really wanted to. But we're able to keep up with the reflect draw off the change simply because we played an anomaly. Also because he wasted essentially a Wall of Wind just so we couldn't set another chance standby. Um, now I wouldn't necessarily say that was wasted completely, but it feels wasted to me. We know he has one other Wall of. Oh, does he have one more Wall of Wind in hand? I'm not sure, but I have a feeling that he has another Wall of Wind in hand, um, unless he like just taps out this turn. So he's gonna attack for 2. Um, Okay, so this gets the other Wall of Wind out. And then he's going to incarnate Adam Brawley, most likely. Okay, so he's going to attack the Executioner instead. Um, that's interesting. We have we have our opening here to play our Lucifer, so I think we have to take it. He's just going to sack off the Cheshire Cat most likely, but this lets us stick a threat that he's going to have to deal with. So we ready to hit a Windscleed Refuge. We got 2 Wall of Winds out. We got one Huanglong out. He's pretty close to casting another Huanglong, so we're going to want to have this set next turn because he can play it for 6, get a bunch of 4 Sacred Beasts if he really wants to. So we need to have this set, and then we're going to set the signs as well, just in worst case scenario. I think it's best to do that. We want to have enough mana to, we don't need to play around Wall of Wind per se, because he's going to have to tap out for the Huanglong next turn anyway. So this is taking 400. I think I'm okay with this. And that's mostly because I think I can raise with life gain, or at least in theory, I think I can. So we're gonna set this, hit the other Huanglong in his hand, make sure it doesn't trigger. We're gonna play a barrier here. I hope he doesn't have a counterspell for it. And then we're gonna set a sign. Since he's very close to triggering that sign anyway. He might have a thunder in hand. So what I actually want to do is I want to attack. No, I want to attack one of these. See if he has that thunder in hand. I'll go ahead and gain that 9 life. And then pass here. Okay, so he's gonna get a bunch. We definitely side into Hera's here. He's gonna Judgment. That's interesting. So he's probably gonna search next turn. Attempt to get like a. Yeah. He's gonna get another Cheshire Cat here. So once he plays a dude, if he does play a dude this turn, we can trigger the sign. Doesn't look like that's gonna happen here. So here I want to see if I can bait out his bounce, but it doesn't look like it's gonna happen. So go ahead and set these things, and then we'll pass to him. We've got a bunch of chance standby set here. I need to remember what they are. I think they're prison and 3 signs. Yeah, it's prison and all 3 signs basically. So he's gonna call stone here. The barrier really hurts him though. I don't think I need to start getting life anymore. I mean, granted, gaining 9 life each turn is really good, but I think it's more important to start hitting his, just focusing on hitting his life total as much as I can. So here he needs to decide whether he wants to just play the Huanglong or not. We already got rid of 1. So he probably has 3 others left in the deck. So it's a matter of just dealing with those. We'll see if he attempts to counter this. Go down to 6. So that gets countered. We're gonna flip the other one as well. See how far he wants to go with those. So we're basically getting the counters off his refrain now. It's just seeing what he can do here. We'll leave the other side in the future. I'm just stoning that one. This one he can't counter unless he actually has a counter spell or like a wall of wind in hand. I think the important thing here is probably to ignore the 4 Sacred Beasts. Probably attempt to just race. I probably shouldn't have burned the stoning there. I forgot I had a Space-Time Anomaly in the grave, so I should have used that instead. Um, that was definitely a misplay on my part. Um, so here we're going to want to set another Executioner if we can. We're going to attack him and then trigger the life gain. Yeah. And then we'll pass. We do have Space-Time Anomaly in the grave. He's really constrained on counters now, so I think we can pull through. The barrier's done a lot of work this game. We're also not by any means close to dead. So he does have exactly 3 counters here. I'm going to attempt to counter here. Yeah, so he's got exactly 3 for that. Does he not have any of the red one? Okay. We're gonna start by hitting this one and this one. And then we're going to flip up. Yeah. Okay. Alright, so here we want Hera's. They're really good. The Bear was excellent. The Pitch Black Moon, probably not going to resolve. The Scorns are great. Uh, Most of this deck is really good. I think the Arthur, we can cut down to Arthur. We run in Hera, Arthur, put in the Heras. Put in, like, we want to maximize the number of cards that just do things. So I think the Pitch Black Moon, we might want to cut here. because rebuying wouldn't have been that great. Spirals. I do want to get the spirals in here if I can. I think 2 Hera, 2 barrier is fine. The stonings don't seem as good here. I think I want 3 stonings still in the deck, but I think I want 2 spirals as well. This might be enough. I want the 4th sign as well. So, spiral is actually not as good as the 4th sign, I think. Spiral. The problem with spiral is he gets to pick what to discard, so it might even just be better to not run spirals and just run Heras. I think I'll just roll with this though. 1 spiral and then 2 Heras sided in. Yeah, that seems really strong, at least against this strategy. So we're on the draw. The Scorn's really good. I actually like keeping the barrier here as well. The rest of these are just going to go to the bottom. We're going to draw 3. So this is actually a pretty good start from our end. Yeah, I feel pretty good about this. We beat him on the draw game 1, so I think we can do it again game 2, now that we also have other cards. But now that we bring in the additional sign and the 2 Heras, I think we can attack his deck from a lot of better angles. The barriers did work that game. I think if I didn't see the barrier, the 1 barrier, I probably would have lost that game because he would have just gone pretty crazy with that the orbs. I also think he conceded too early. He probably could have held on to that game because I stopped the first Huanglong and I got him pretty low in counters, but he could have continued to play the long game and just started bouncing Lucifer. Because he probably runs some number of counter spells like Seal of Wind and Light in his deck, so he could probably actually hard counter the Lucifer. And it's not like I had much in my I only have 1 Space-Time Anomaly in my grave, so it's not like I was actually going to be able to power through him. At least not reflect because he had orbs later on, and he had plenty of mana just to activate them to add counters and probably just remove to draw. So I think he could have kept going. You know, that's just the power of reflect. Reflect is by far the best ruler. In my personal opinion, it shouldn't belong in New Frontiers meta. I can see it in Alice Block. It's a lot more balanced because it's not as good. There's not as much support for Reflect in Alice Block compared to Kaguya or like Primogender. So, but what I'm saying is Reflect could have kept going. He could have kept going because it Reflect and counters, or he had orbs, and I didn't have Hera's main board, and it just powered through the fact that I only had just a Lucifer. He could have just kept bouncing Lucifer, maybe even got to the point where he countered Lucifer. But with 2 orbs out, you can, and like 6 mana, you can fight through barrier. You can add those counters on to Reflect. You can bounce Lucifer repeatedly. You can buy yourself the time that you need to really settle into the game in the late game. So here I'm going to hope I don't hit a Black Moon's Memoria. He's probably going to have the Wall of Wind anyway to counter the Executioner. So I may just want to hold off on playing the Executioner immediately if he plays like a Mana Dork. I don't think he didn't play the Mana Dork turn 1, so I don't know if he actually has a Mana Dork. That Wind Secluded Refuge is going to be pretty good to counter the Executioner's ability, not so much the Executioner himself. So here we're going to Scorn, see what we see in his hand. There's a Huanglong, Huang times 2, Gwyber, Wall times 2, and Wind Secluded Refuge. The Gwyber, he's not going to cast anytime soon, so we don't need to worry about it here. I think we need to hit the Huanglong. So this leaves him with Huang, Gwyber, Wall times 2, Wind. And I could I could set another execution here. I think setting another execution here is better than setting a barrier when he doesn't have any orbs out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And again, you see the hand. If you see Huanglong, you should immediately think beast deck, like heavy beast deck. So I figure what he's doing is um, he's siding into he sided into a bunch of removal, or at least protection like this. He's gonna pop the other Windsclear Refuge here. Is the question. This, yeah. So he's gonna let it go actually. Um, yeah. So here we're going to attack with both of these. I actually don't want to incarnate both of them because they do add a degree of pressure. 6 damage by themselves is actually pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the barrier, which should shut down any. This should shut down any like orbs that he plays, and then I'm going to follow up with the Lora just to put on pressure on the board. Go ahead and grab our Carmilla. I could grab the Lora here, but I think he's going to play something on me um, that's going to warrant getting killed by the Carmilla. And then I want to have the hard cast Nyarlathotep on turn 5 because he's going to want to cast Huanglong on turn 6. Um, the other reason why I'd grab Carmilla this early is because I want to get that Windsclear Refuge off the field, and so if I can play it and force him to pop it, then this will let me potentially trigger a prison later on. So that's just kind of the goal there. Um, I know he's got a Wall of Wind in hand, so that's something that I'm gonna need to play around a little bit. Swing here. If he declares this block, um, then I'm going to just use the Space-Time Anomaly to kill. Yeah, I'm gonna use the Space-Time Anomaly here to kill this thing, or rather to bring it to a 5/5. And here it's just a matter of does he want to pop the Windsclear Refuge on it. I plan on incarnating the Nyarlathotep anyway, I think. So it's really a matter of popping this Windsclear Refuge. Once a Wall of Wind it, I'll definitely pay the cost for it. Um, so there's that. And we'll go ahead and get our 3 damage in with Lora. Incarnate both of these two. C2 Huanglongs, Wall of Wind, and Gwyber. I'm going to take a Huanglong here, so this leaves him with Huang, Wall, and Gwyber. So his hand is just god awful at this point. Um, let's see here. Do I just? I think it's better to set this now, since he doesn't know what it is, and then just really put on the pressure here. Even though we're on the draw, just really demonstrating like we are just so full of disruption that his deck is not going to be able to keep up. Um, so there's a Gwyber there. Um, that's kind of problematic for us. I think I wonder if he sighted out orbs. I haven't seen an orb, so our Hera here is actually just kind of dead. Let's see here. We can probably just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he is going to be able to Wall of Wind our prison next turn. So we need to leave up mana here. We can take the Gwyber hit if necessary. If he wants to pop the Windsclear Refuge. Oh, he didn't. Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna leave up 1 mana for that Wall of Wind. Um, So this way we can pop the prison on his Huanglong should he decide to cast it. And if you know my theory on Whimsically Refuge, well, it's more like Adam Reiser's theory, but it's that Whimsically Refuge is often not better than having another threat. But if your deck, I guess if your deck is singular in its threats, kind of like this, then then ultimately, uh, like if you're playing a deck that's just dependent on playing control and surviving until um, until it can play something like Huanglong, it just takes over the game. Uh, yeah, so this is the power of disruption against a deck that's trying to play a combo like this. We're a control deck, we're naturally just really strong against a combo type strategy like this. Granted, you do have to sequence things and play things in order so that you can play around stuff like Wall of Wind, but this deck can definitely get there, and it forces them to make decisions like, do I sack the Whimsically Refuge or not? Well, thank you for watching. Hopefully you found it enjoyable and